Okay, good afternoon everyone, and thanks for joining us today. This is Joe with the LSA, and I'd like to welcome all of you to our webinar series. Today's webinar is titled Why Marketing Automation is the Future of Local Sales, and it's going to be brought to you by our guest presenter Jeff from Vendasta. So during the webinar, if you have any questions, you can type them in the question box on the screen, and at the conclusion of the presentation, Jeff will address them. And then also, if you want to follow along with the conversation on Twitter, you can use the hashtag LSA Webinars. Or you can follow our Twitter account at localsearchassn. So that's at localsearchassn. So with that, Jeff, over to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe, and thanks everyone for tuning in to listen for a few minutes today. We're just at the LSA event out in sunny San Francisco, and we had a panel discussion on the changing sales models and the role the data plays in that. And marketing automation is really, really important to the evolution of the sales model, and specifically it's really impacted by the amount of data that's available to us now. So I want to take a couple minutes today to quickly go through how we're thinking about marketing automation, why we think it's critically important to this evolution in the sales and marketing channels that we're now working with. And so I'm going to go through the why, the who, and the how about marketing automation. Just really quickly, I'll skip ahead here and just give you a quick introduction of what Vendasta does if you don't have the background. I think many people know us in this space, but we provide a sales and marketing automation platform that allows agencies and media companies to provide products and services, SMB solutions, at scale through our marketplace. And we've been doing that since about 2011 or so. Most of the solutions that we've been providing are foundational solutions like reputation, presence management, i.e. local listings and social solutions. That foundation has provided us a great repository of data that we've been able to take and reuse and put into a marketing automation platform. And so there's some very specific ways that we're thinking about marketing automation. One of the reasons why we started thinking about it was there were a lot of problems in the marketing automation spaces. A lot of people are familiar with the Marketos, the Eloquas, the Infusionsoft, Pardot, big, expensive enterprise solutions that are available. And there's a lot of challenges around them. I think marketing automation's come a long way in the last few years. But I looked up, and this is one definition that I found of marketing automation, that it refers to software that exists with the goal of automating marketing actions, where many marketing departments have to automate repetitive tasks such as email, social media, and other website actions. And that technology makes the marketing automation makes these tasks a lot easier. But I think that definition really misses the point on what we have to think about when we're thinking about marketing automation. Because everybody has been on some sort of automation campaign, and if it's not handled properly, it can make you look really bad. I continue to get emails that call me Karen every single day, and I can't seem to get rid of them. And I think some of the things that we should be thinking about with marketing automation should be in delivering processes. And thinking about the processes to deliver more relevant, timely value to our audience at scale with better personalization. And very important part of that is about driving value for the end users. And I think that marketing campaigns that are successful in the future are going to be ones that focus on being helpful. And in general, marketing departments that are going to be successful are ones that focus on being helpful. So what we know about the marketing automation space right now is pretty stark. So 70% of the marketers are either happy or only marginally unhappy or only marginally happy with the solutions that they have. 6 out of 10 cite poor data or inconsistency of the data contributing to that. And 44% of the dissatisfied users say that the software takes too long to implement. We used to be a Salesforce shop, and we used Pardot. So because we chose that one because Salesforce purchased Pardot, and we thought that there'd be a really nice integration there. It took us a very long time to integrate it. It's very complex, very, very expensive, and we're now actually using our own homegrown solution, so I call us a recovering Salesforce company now, to be a little tongue-in-cheek. But seriously, it's funny, if you show me somebody that's absolutely thrilled with their Salesforce implementation and thrilled with all the money that they're putting down that rabbit hole, I'll show you a piece of land that I'm going to sell you, and it's up in Saskatchewan or somewhere. So here's some more data about the marketing automation space. 70% of the marketers are either unhappy or only marginally happy, as stated before. And here's some of the reasons. Again, really, really expensive solutions, really difficult to integrate between CRM, and not just difficult, but also very expensive. Really difficult to get the data out that you need to make decisions about your marketing. One of the things that was really frustrating for us with Pardot was that I had a really difficult time after I set up all of my campaigns to try to figure out where people were at in the life cycle of all these different campaigns and how many people had dropped off. One of the biggest things was the lack of lead data, and some of the, despite all of the complexity, at the end of the day, after we built out all of our campaigns, what we were sending was generic email. And the campaigns that we had, well, some of them were sort of satisfactory, a lot of them didn't perform very well. And I think that goes back to the data, and we'll talk about that a little bit here. In general, a lot of people agree that the implementation process is extremely difficult. So it's one of the things that we really, really thought about when we're trying to put something together is how do we create a marketing automation system that sort of works out of the box. Because one of the funniest things that we've noticed about marketing automation is really little actually automated about this stuff. You create your campaigns and that stuff will go, but it's an enormous amount of work to implement it, to integrate it into a CRM like Salesforce, and then to set up all of your campaigns, your rules, your logic, your lead scoring, and the content that you're eventually providing. So let's get into the why a little bit. We talked about some of the problems with marketing automation. So this was a really interesting piece of data that I saw at the Burrell conference, and it created a lot of clarity in my thinking about how the space is changing. And it basically indicates that local marketing and providing local marketing solutions is growing at a much faster rate and expected to grow at a much greater rate than local advertising solutions. And so what we see with traditional media companies and agencies in the space now, there's a transition from becoming an advertising media company to being the provider of marketing solutions rather than advertising solutions. And in that, we're shifting to a SaaS type model rather than an advertising media type model. And so with that comes a whole host of things that we have to think about. We're now focused on creating regular monthly recurring revenue. We have to understand completely the lifetime value of our customers and then get in line our cost of acquisitions. And this is the biggest thing that when we're making this shift, this is why all of the traditional companies have to reinvent their sales model, is because it didn't make sense anymore. The cost structure of sales for selling local marketing solutions, it just didn't map over. So here's some other reasons why to think about marketing automation. If we're going to try to drive efficiencies to our sales force, we have to find businesses that are ready to buy. We can't boil the ocean. You can't sit down and have a sales force call out to an entire marketplace without qualifying the marketplace or finding ones that are either actively seeking out your solutions or really have a need for your solutions. And so that's one thing that we're trying to address. The other thing is that we need to create a really, really tight connection between the marketing team and the sales team, so that the sales team can call leads as close to that moment that they're ready to buy as possible. We really have to understand our pipelines better, and then we have to provide the right solutions at the right price and at the right service model. So this is how we're thinking about marketing automation, and it's not a lot different from other solutions that you've probably been familiar with, except for a couple of things that we see on the bookends here. The actual business data is a critical component to this. What we're going to do is we're going to use the data for creating our content, and we can do that in an automated way to create campaigns. We're not going to forget about people after the fact, because there should be this ongoing SLA between the marketing team and the sales team. So marketing shouldn't forget about our customers after they've been signed by sales. We should continue our marketing to them by providing them relevant, timely, valuable information that helps educate and inform them. And over time, that will grow our monthly recurring revenue in that customer. And then, of course, there needs to be a regular feedback loop of data going back to the marketing and sales team so that we understand what's going on with the customers. The key to all of this is going to be marketing personalization. And it's probably one of the biggest factors in creating conversion rates at the top end of your funnel, and that are going to give you the results that you need in order to drive down your cost of acquisition, generate a large number of leads that convert better for your sales team. And we're going to do that with data. And the lack of data has been the biggest challenge in this space, but we can collect it now, and we can use the data in automated ways to create the content for the campaigns. And that is going to be the magic around this process that we're talking about. So I'm going to skip forward here. Click. This is some of the impact that we've seen in implementing marketing automation with some of the customers that we've been working with, both small, large agencies, and then people through different verticals in the media space as well. The typical open rates we see in emails are about 27.4%. The typical click-through rates are 31%. And we've been in our own marketing efforts at Vendasta hovering around typical conversion rates for email marketing that map the industry averages, which are around 15%, and click-through rates are, and the ones that we had were actually lower than 6.3%, but that's a typical click-through rate for email marketing in our industry. So let's talk a little bit about the who now, and what's needed. So we need smarter systems and strategies. We need platforms that address these localization needs. And so what I want to do is I want to talk about the key stakeholders in the process and what each of them needs specifically. So when we build software at Vendasta, we often think about personas and the people that are involved in using the individual pieces of the software. And so this is how we're going to build out a strategy on what all the different pieces we're going to need around our marketing automation. So these are the key people involved: marketing manager, Miranda, and we've got our sales manager, sales rep, and we've got a business owner. Now, I don't know why they made Miranda as the marketing manager. Should have made Jeff, but I didn't think our creative team wanted a bald beauty in this deck, obviously. So anyways, Miranda should have been the sales manager. She's our marketing manager, though, now. So what does she want? She wants personalized, relevant content that doesn't cost an arm and a leg to produce. Again, the biggest challenge that I had with Pardot implementing it on our end was creating all of the content for the campaigns. And then, like I said, at the end of the day, I just had generic email that I was sending, and it wasn't converting the way I wanted. So another thing that would be great for Miranda is something that's much easier to implement out of the box. And I'd say it took us a full, probably year to get Pardot to where we were somewhat happy with it. And I wouldn't say that our implementation is done by any stretch of the imagination, because when you implement something like that and you don't have dedicated resources, your team's doing a whole bunch of different things, and it can be a lot of heavy lifting. So she'd love something that works out of the box, and then she needs analytics to understand how these campaigns are working. Now, Bob's the sales manager. What does Bob want? Bob needs to be able to manage his team effectively, so he needs robust analytics around the sales pipeline. He needs to know if the salespeople are actually doing their job and following up on the leads. He has to be able to hold them accountable. So Vern is a sales rep. Now what he wants is some help from marketing and help converting some of the leads. He wants the marketing to help him follow up with the leads in a regular way. And then he needs instant alerts on engagement. Now, Vern is a savvy sales rep, and he knows that the time to follow up on a lead is the most critical factor in converting leads. And the stat that we use around here is, and that we found consistently across different types of research, is that responding to leads within 5 minutes can have as much as 900% increase in your conversion rates, and you'll see that as typical. The conversion rates really drop off if you don't respond to the leads nearly immediately. So Sally is our business owner, and a lot of us can relate to Sally because we get marketing emails ourselves, and she doesn't want to be dripped on by some people that are just trying to sell her stuff. But what she is very, very receptive to is relevant, valuable, helpful content that helps her solve her marketing needs. Ideally, she'd like one agency of record. She'd love one resource to help her with all of our marketing needs instead of dealing with a lot of different people. But again, she's going to be much more receptive to people that are helpful to her. So some of the usual suspects that we see in marketing automation are lead source management, lead scoring, email systems. But what we have really hard to find is this close connectivity between sales and marketing, automated campaigns, and a way to create content that engages is not just personalized, but it's engaging because it's relevant and personalized in a way that we're talking about their problems. And I'll get very specific on what I mean about that in the local space. So this is reiterating what I just said, and let's uncover the content a little bit here. We know that it could be extremely valuable or extremely expensive to create content, no matter what type of campaign that you're building. But if you're just creating it and you're manually creating it, it at the end of the day is just generic content. So how can we do this better? So at Vendasta, what we came up with was to create a report for a business that will break down their entire digital footprint and measure how they're doing in the different areas that are the most important for local marketing. So that includes listings, reviews, social, and what types of information can we send them that's valuable. Now, there's a lot of different models out here and other people that are doing these types of assessments or reports. And it's interesting to note that HubSpot has a website grader that's a lot of people are familiar with. It has been consistently the most valuable lead generation tool that they have, because you can go there, you can generate a website evaluation for free, and it is helpful content. So functionally, how this worked in our world is we would create an email, and that would come from the sales rep and would go to the SMB, and then it would provide a link to a report. And the report would look something like this. And if the animation is working, this report should be scrolling, showing you different parts. Now this is our report, but you can imagine, depending on the vertical, the specific vertical that you're working in or your customer base, these can take different types of forms. Our report focuses on sort of these foundational marketing tactics around local listing management, reviews. We can show them how their social is doing, how they compare to other businesses in their local area, whether their engagement levels are lacking or whether they're exceeding other businesses in the area. How does their website look? Is it mobile friendly? Are they using paid search? And how is their SEO on their website? There's a lot of data that we can put in here that's very, very valuable. Our initial findings, so I showed you some of the average rates. Some of the first few customers that we had, and this was the type of engagement that they saw, 51% open rates, 79% click-through rates on this type of report. And it's because the report is about the business. And we were completely blown away when we started this approach too, because I'd never seen open rates or click-through rates like this before. And again, I'm showing you our reports. If you're in a different type of vertical, you can imagine all sorts of different types of data that you could use and build in an automated way for this type of approach. So let's take full advantage of the data. Now, once we've sent the report, that's only the beginning of the marketing funnel. When we think about marketing automation, it is a complete integrated system with the sales team. Because if the sales team can't follow up with the leads, then the leads that we're generating on the marketing end at the top of the funnel aren't any good. And so whatever we do when we're generating the leads here, our sales team has to be able to follow up immediately. And so we have to get alerts to the sales force. We have to provide some sort of view and filter that will show the salespeople, the most important people to contact in chronological order in terms of when they've been engaging with content. That was something that was very difficult for us to actually implement with Salesforce.com, and I know that it's possible, but once you start into some of the custom configurations, you're hiring consultants, it can get very, very expensive and time-consuming to implement. And so this is sort of the workflow that we have. We have personalized content, we have interaction with the customer, gets assigned immediately to a sales rep that receives an alert as a hot prospect, and the sales rep follows up. Those alerts, by the way, have to come in any type of form, so that they have to receive them. Obviously, these alerts have to be mobile friendly. Just really quickly, a couple of case studies that we did. This was one with a newspaper out in California, the Vendasta Do, that created a partnership with the local Chamber of Commerce. And the reason why they created the relationship was that the Chamber was looking for additional ways to create renewals in their membership. And a lot of the Chamber members weren't actually advertisers with the B, so it was a natural partnership made in heaven here. So they approached 730 Chamber members. They've created a report, emailed them out. This was the engagement that they got, about 34% open rate, 49% click-through rates. But they had a huge conversion rate, and they added $55,000 in revenue and recurring revenue from that campaign. Very, very successful. This is one that maybe I should have removed from the deck, but I just didn't get it quite completed. This was a large publisher in the directory space, and before we did the presentation here, we just didn't get sign-off from their legal on having permission to put their name on this. But we can talk about, because they're anonymous here, some of the results that they got, because this was a brand new campaign that was just running. They approached 980 current customers with the goal of increase the monthly recurring revenue that they were generating from those customers. And of those, they had a very high open and click-through rate as well, and saw from that engagement great pull-through on the sales end. And of all of the accounts that they've sold, they were on average typically increased the revenue of those accounts 185%. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of the data-driven marketing, and this is just to sort of wrap things up. The goal around this is to focus on businesses that are ready to buy, and find people where we can provide them a report and pieces of that report resonate with them. And you'll find that people that are engaging with you are ones where they've had some sort of event that makes us important to them. And just a really, really quick anecdote of a story. If I look back to my previous life, we were at a different company. I was creating real estate websites, and the model back then was to create free websites. Nobody was doing that at the time. It was sort of innovative. That was way back in 2004 or something. In 2002, actually. And so in order to seed the market, we had this fantastic platform that created really awesome looking sites, and realtors could log in and manage, update, maintain it all themselves. It was far superior to any other technology that was out there in the place, and there weren't very many SaaS type models. Back then you were hiring a webmaster to create your site for them and paying them every time you wanted an update. So in order to get some traction in the marketplace, we went and found some of the top producing realtors around North America. We found 80 of them, and we built the sites in-house. We built another site for them and made it beautiful, and most of them had really poor looking sites. And then we called them up, and all we wanted to do was give them away the site so that we could use that as promotional use the promotional value of that, and use their name. And all of those sites, you know how many we were able to give away? It was like something like 4. It was incredibly low, and the challenge was those people that we were reaching out to randomly, they just didn't have a website problem. The real estate market was good at the time. They were selling a lot of stuff. The MLS was working for them. Websites weren't their problem. They didn't even want to invest time in using a different website, even if we were giving it to them for free. So free doesn't have a lot of value. But what you'll find is when we started marketing to the larger audience, the larger real estate market, we were able to find people that were actually out there looking for websites. And when you look at the local space and you provide a report like this, the people that will be responding will be people that just had a really negative review brought to their attention, or somebody made a comment on their social page that they don't have any updates and they should maybe be doing something, or somebody phoned them and said, I can't find your place of business because you've got your PIN is wrong on Google Maps. They've had some sort of involvement, and you got to find those people in the marketplace, and that's what's really going to drive down your cost of sales. Again, what we want to do here is avoid trying to boil the ocean and find the people that are ready to transact. And with that, what we're seeing on our end, if you use data and you can personalize your marketing and make it not just relevant and timely, but you can make it valuable and focus on being helpful, you can employ outbound marketing efforts, and you can have inbound type success with that and create a wealth of new leads that transact quickly for your sales force.
So I want to thank Jeff for conducting today's webinar, and thanks for all of you for attending as well. If you have any questions or would like to be connected with Jeff, you had his contact information on the screen earlier, but if you would like to work through LSA, you can just email us at webinars@thelsa.org and we can connect you. Also, for a look at what's coming in terms of webinars and for access to all of our past webinars, visit www.thelsa.org/webinars. So thanks again, everyone, and have a great day.